A phone doesn't become Ultra just because it's expensive anymore, and the Galaxy S27 Ultra leaks are the first real proof of that shift. Because if the latest supply chain reports and Qualcomm roadmap hints are even half correct, Samsung isn't just upgrading the Ultra, it's rebuilding what Ultra actually means from the ground up. And it starts with something Samsung has been stuck on for almost a decade: battery limits that refuse to break past the 5,000 milliamp wall while everything else keeps getting more powerful, more AI-driven, and more demanding. But here's where things quietly start to change, because the S27 Ultra isn't trying to solve everything with one magic upgrade. It's focusing on three areas: camera intelligence, raw performance, and system efficiency. And the first one is where things get really interesting. The S27 Ultra is expected to carry a next-generation 200-megapixel class sensor, likely an evolved ISO CLHP series design. But the real story isn't megapixels at all. It's a new imaging approach that early leaks connect to low-max-style dynamic range processing. And that sounds technical, but the impact is very simple. Right now, your phone camera struggles in mixed lighting. Bright skies get blown out, shadows lose detail, and you end up choosing between two bad versions of the same photo. But with this new system, the sensor can hold both extremes at once. Some leak projections suggest dynamic range improvements of up to 2 to 3 exposure stops, which basically means more natural photos without heavy editing or AI correction after the fact. So your sunset doesn't lose its sky, your night shots don't turn into black noise. Everything just looks more real. But here's the twist Samsung won't like hearing. Xiaomi and other Chinese flagships are already experimenting with similar sensor-level HDR systems. So in this area, Samsung isn't leading the charge, it's reacting to it. And that brings us to the second big shift: performance. Because the S27 Ultra is rumored to run on Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro, built on a 2nm process node. That alone could bring efficiency gains of up to 30 to 40% compared to previous generations, depending on workload. But the real story isn't peak speed, it's sustained intelligence. Because next-gen RAM and storage pipelines are expected to massively increase data throughput, meaning the phone can juggle multiple AI tasks at once: real-time translation, image generation, voice processing, and video enhancement, all running simultaneously without slowing down the system. This is where Samsung's strategy becomes obvious. The S27 Ultra isn't just a fast phone anymore. It's being designed as a continuous AI processing device that never really stops working in the background. But there's a catch hidden inside all this power. More performance means more heat. More AI means more energy demand. And that circles back to the same old question Samsung hasn't fully answered yet. How do you break past the battery ceiling without redesigning the entire internal structure? And this is where the camera system quietly plays a role again, because leaks suggest Samsung is also working on improving internal space efficiency, potentially reshaping the sensor stack and motherboard layout. Nothing confirmed, but analysts estimate even a 5 to 10% internal efficiency gain could open room for either better cooling or a slightly larger battery buffer. Not a revolution, but enough to matter in real-world use. Now here's where the S27 Ultra becomes controversial. The S Pen stays, and that decision affects more than just productivity features. It directly impacts hardware design constraints, including internal space and magnetic accessory compatibility. Even with Qi 2 becoming the new standard across the industry, the S Pen digitizer layer still creates limitations that prevent full MagSafe style magnetic alignment. And despite early rumors of a redesigned S Pen system, most recent reports suggest Samsung is sticking with the current EMR-based approach again. So you get continuity, but also limitation. And that's the trade-off Samsung keeps repeating: maximizing versatility, but never maximum freedom in one direction. So when you step back and look at the S27 Ultra as a whole, something becomes clear. It's not trying to be the most balanced flagship anymore. It's trying to be the most capable one in very specific extremes: camera intelligence, AI performance, and productivity connectivity integration, and that creates a strange identity, because the real question isn't whether the S27 Ultra will be powerful. It absolutely will be. The real question is whether powerful is still enough when competitors are starting to redefine convenience, efficiency, and form factor at the same time. So here's the bold thought. Samsung probably doesn't want framed this way. The Galaxy S27 Ultra might not be the phone that beats everyone at everything anymore. It might be the phone that wins in depth while losing a little in simplicity, and that leads to the real debate. Would you rather have a phone that does everything at its peak potential, even if it comes with compromises you can feel every day, or a device that feels simpler, lighter, and smarter in how it fits into your life? Tell me what you think in the comments, because this isn't just about Samsung anymore. It's about where flagship phones are actually headed next. And if these leaks keep lining up, the S27 Ultra might not just be an upgrade, it might be the start of Samsung splitting Ultra into something entirely